final trailer. Supergirl. This is the new Supergirl
Yeah.
trailer.
Hey, I was just touching base to see when you think you might be coming back. You know, I'm just worried that you're not going to find your stride here if you keep going off-world all the time, Kara. I'm worried you're not going to find your people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, Clark. I have no people. Oh, miss wherever you are, buddy.
As I walk this land of road,
Crypto and I at least had each other.
I have visions of
Honestly, I thought we were lucky. But luck, almost by definition, runs out. What can I do?
The Brickens carry the antidote on that person. He has 3.
And man, it sure gives a different vibe than the last trailer. Look, you were saying off air you didn't like how like she was stern. I guess is how I would put it, stern and like,
That's one way of wording it.
Downtrodden
Yeah.
and
Depressing and kind of unpleasant is another way of putting it.
But the whole idea is this movie is based on a Supergirl comic where Supergirl is weighted by, well, I mean, and to be fair,
depressed.
Well,
she's depressed.
To be fair, this big with this version of the character. She was an adult when her planet died. So it's like, what does a person with the weight of having an entire planet's worth of people die in you and you remember? Unlike Clark, she didn't leave as a baby. She left, who has no memory of his home.
As like a teenager or whatever. Yeah.
So I that's sort of what this is exploring, that darkness. You know, every other version of Supergirl is upbeat and chipper, and I understand her functionality in this universe is like, oh, you want Superman who's unhinged and willing to hurt people? This is that. This is that. This is what she's gonna be.
I don't want that. If I wanted that, I would have liked the Snyderverse.
She's gonna be the Superman that's a hair trigger that will laser beam you in a second.
I think I've just nailed the reason why I'm confused how I feel about this is how I would describe it.
I like more of it than I don't like.
There's things about it I like. But yeah, that dark, gritty, as you've described it, she's the Superman that's willing to hurt, just makes me think of it.
But that gives her an arc, right? That gives her an arc,
This feels
right?
like just like Snyderverse light,
sure,
and I don't like that.
It gives her an arc of, she starts off there, because that seems to be part of the theme of this, is at the beginning Clark is like, you're never going to fit in if you don't give it a chance. So I think the idea of this is it seems to be a buddy road trip movie with her and the girl, and it's going to be about her lightening up, and I think that's kind of what this is. That's what I'm
hoping, is that I'm hoping by the end of it she'll be less dour.
It looks as though like she starts off with the trench coat, she's really dour, and then by the end of it she's wearing the proper Supergirl outfit, and that's supposed to represent her becoming a bit more upbeat.
Oh, then that's where I think
I like that as a character arc just fine. It's perfectly suitable.
That's where I think Lobo is also going to play into it, because I think he's going to be
fantastic.
I think he's going to be like, oh, like you and I are the same, like we're kindred souls, man. Like we're like two peas in a pod, and I think the girl that's road tripping with them or whatever is going to be like, you guys are very similar, and by the end of it that'll make Supergirl be like, I don't know that I want to be like you.
He looks great though. He looks great.
He looks like Lobo. He really does.
Acts like Lobo. I was concerned because I was like, oh my god, the voice and the look kind of is reminding me too much of that fucking Slumberland movie. And I was like, oh no. And then,
I could see why you'd say that.
And then he had a different voice, and I was like, okay, no, they're doing something different with this.
Aren't you the ditz from that dive bar?
Funny. That's what I've been calling you.
Touche.
I like it. I like the fact that the core of the film is crypto. I like the interconnectedness of how Superman introduces. It's doing the shit the MCU did in a successful way, and I'm like, that tells me that that everyone's giving this shitting on the DCU, but this shows that the DCU has cohesion. right? Because we introduced
it
Crypto
shows,
in the previous one. So now in this one, when he's dying, and that's the crux of the plot of the movie is them getting a cure for Crypto who is dying. You give a shit because you've spent a movie with Crypto.
You've
that's
set him
really
up already.
effective. I was like, oh, I'm sad about this. This makes me kind of want to see this because I like Crypto. I like dogs.
You know, it's almost as if what's his name? James Gunn actually learned from his time in the MCU about how cohesion can actually work
and actually be good, and it could just be small
and actually be
subtle.
good. And he's now taking that and using it. It's like he's learned a lesson.
It's like he learned from his time in the MCU. Huh? Who would have thunk it?
That being said, if they use this movie to kind of, I don't need her to be like Girl Scout, like, oh gee, Willikers,
she doesn't
like,
need to be
super
Supergirl,
happy,
the TV show. Like, she doesn't need to be
no,
that.
like, I don't need to be that, but I just don't want to be like a 3 or 4 movies of her being.
I think that's what I'm saying is I like a little less Captain Marvel and a little bit more the Marvels.
Yeah. And so, like, if we
have
start
some fun,
and like the first half is she's Captain Marvel, but then like the second half she stops being Captain Marvel and is the Marvels Captain Marvel.
Right. Then I'm okay with that.
Then okay, like, I can live with that.
Correct usage of Superman. Like, that's how you should be using your cameos. Like, I think I said
especially
this before,
in
I'm
a
sick to death of people complaining about everything being a cameo fest because that's what comic books are. Like, you're reading an issue and Iron Man will just show up and he's there for a panel or a frame. To
use a more relevant comparison, that is one thing that the Supergirl show was good at, was like they'd have a quick cameo from Superman.
Yeah.
Superman.
The CW would nailed cameos. Where it's like, he just appears for a scene. It's Oliver and Barry having a conversation on a roof. He was there for a day. You just had to pay him for a day. He throws on the costume, and then it makes the universe feel interconnected. But it doesn't overburden the story or make the story dependent on. And I think maybe that's what people are like. Oh, the story is too dependent. But then people bitch about throwaway cameos. But that's what superhero shit should be. Right?
It
should be
like superhero things. Like if you were reading a Supergirl comic, it would absolutely make sense that you would have a single panel scene where like Supergirl is complaining in terms of a normal comic, where Supergirl is complaining about whatever issue she has while on the phone with Clark.
Exactly, it's very believable. It's
that's very on
it's
brand.
all you need. That's what I said. You need to pepper Superman into this universe in some form. Acknowledge his existence.
It doesn't need to be huge.
Like, the frustrating thing about the Marvel movies is when you have 5 of them take place in New York, and you're like half of the television series. Like one person, I saw one person say, I don't know much about the Disney Plus Daredevil show, but like I know that spoilers for it, but I only mention it because we're gonna see the Spider-Man movie. But in that show, Kingpin has set up an anti-vigilante
task force.
Task force, and his whole platform is taking out vigilantes because the plot, obviously, Daredevil is a vigilante, I guess, and getting the Punisher or whatever. But like, Spider-Man would absolutely get swept up in that. Like, there's so many moments where it's like, oh yeah, the entire climax of Hawkeye takes place at Rockefeller Center. And you're like, Spider-Man is at Rockefeller Center at the end of No Way Home. He would absolutely show up for this. Yeah. This is in his purview. Like, it makes it frustrating. And a lot of times, like, all you need is a word or a line or a sentence to acknowledge that these people exist in your universe. And him appearing, getting him in the costume for a day, an afternoon, and putting him on a television screen is the perfect way to do that. You know how when the best time that the MCU ever nailed that idea is Homecoming, where you just have Captain America doing PSAs. It's like, yes, that makes me believe that, or like we always talk about in Winter Soldier, where he's like, Tony Stark paid for this. That at least acknowledges that these characters exist in an interconnected world. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say certain characters need more explanation than others. Like, for example, if you're watching a Spider-Man movie, you don't really need to explain why Daredevil's not there unless you have a scene in Hell's Kitchen.
Right, exactly.
Daredevil stays in his lane.
Or if it's like a thing that doesn't involve it, like if this isn't going to involve Captain America, you don't need to talk about Captain America.
No, but like if you're like if you're in New York, and they kind of circumvent this in the MCU, because obviously Avengers Campus is like way out in the boonies and not in the middle of the city. Uh, like you know how in most things, like if you're swinging through New York in the Spider-Man games, they have Avengers Tower.
Yeah, like
but they don't.
Things like background things like that. Exactly.
They have circumvented that particular cameo because they moved from Avengers Tower.
Like it's you can do it where I understand like you can't have the actor be there all the time, but you can reference them so that the world,
you can acknowledge them.
That's how you make the world feel interconnected. And like I say, the DCU seems to understand that. But I am. I was
like for example, like if like for example, a good way to kind of do an acknowledgement without having to have the person is like, yeah, in the next Spider-Man, all you would need is like a quick throwaway line from Peter as he's trying to make a decision of like, oh, what would Captain America do if he was here?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But yeah, if you're gonna have, but it seems to be they're getting more comfortable now that they're introducing the Netflix characters more specifically into the MCU. They're really more willing to like utilize all of those New York characters. Because yeah, it's so weird. I'm really hoping Daredevil better. I'm not talking just Matt Murray, but Daredevil better be in that fucking Spider-Man movie. Because like it's gonna be really irritating if the Punisher is and the Hand is. Like if he doesn't show up in some form or scene, like that's the thing that annoys me is like, yeah, you could just have them show up for one scene. That's fine.
Yeah,
I think it's a sweet sequence, and then he fucks off. Like you could do that.
I have my suspicion that in the trailer where we have the scene of Spider-Man fighting the Hand, and it looks, I have a suspicion that Daredevil is going to be there.
People pointed out that when Spider-Man receives the key to the city in that trailer, it's not Wilson Fisk, and he's technically mayor.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to.
Because I suppose that is.
I'm gonna have to finish Daredevil.
I suppose that is another way that this movie could do, but it could take place before the Daredevil show, and then there's less things that maybe you have to reference.
This takes place. There's a Punisher special that's coming out, and this takes place after that, and supposedly the Punisher special connects Daredevil, end of Daredevil season 2 to Spider-Man. Supposedly.
Interesting.
Rumor going. We're gonna have to do another Marvel, probably maybe a Marvel TV episode. Maybe do less entries and just power through some Marvel television. Maybe do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I do still have to do Agatha.
Jordan's got to do Agatha. We're definitely I think for Spider-Man we'll do another Marvel episode because those fucking kill. They always do stupid good numbers. Our highest viewed episode of the podcast is 200 views, which understand is not a lot. Not a huge.
It is for us.
It's huge. We don't average a ton of views on the actual podcast. That is 200 views. It is crazy. Hey there, everybody. It's NCAR Justin here. Let me know down in the comments. Have you seen this new Supergirl trailer? Are you excited for Supergirl? Is Lobo doing a lot of heavy lifting for you? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. But in the meantime, if you like to see the full podcast that this is from, our special In Between Seasons second bonus episode, which is just the news, click the box on the left. If you just want to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We put new videos out 7 days a week. Or you can just leave this video a like. That helps us out too. We'll see you all in the next video, everybody.